I just wanted to grab the camera real quick to just break down what I would do if I was starting again from zero to make another million if I had to do it all over again. There's going to be no selling in this video, straight value. In fact, if you don't believe me, I am not here to sell you anything in this particular video. I'm actually going to remove all links, all call to actions. There's going to be no opt-ins, no free trainings, no sales funnels, no nothing. Just straight value. Here's what I would tell my younger self. Here's what I would tell my little brothers. Here's what I would tell my little sister. Here's what I would tell my family, my friends, my grandma. This is what I would tell everybody, right? If you was to come to me and ask me, hey Montel, I want to make my first $1 million online. And for those that don't know me, my name is Montel Gordon. I've actually made over $1 million online now in the last like 30-ish to 34-ish months. It's not been pretty. It's been kind of all over the place, and it took me quite a while to actually get here. But now that I'm here, I just want to break down the mistakes I've kind of like made so that you can avoid making them again. And again, for those that can't even concentrate for the next like 2 minutes, 20 minutes, however long this video is going to be, you might as well just X off now, because there's going to be no flashy editing, no Netflix style drama, dramatic music, all that crazy stuff, no weenie whiny story about going from broke to rich, even though I kind of have done that, to be fair. It's going to be none of that. I was just literally wrapping up from work, decided to grab the camera, thought about a conversation I had with my little brother just the other night when we was watching the freaking Avatar on Netflix. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video to basically break down what I would actually do. So let me go and set up this camera real quick. And as you can see, just doing a little bit of work here in the office. Forgive it for looking a little bit dark and a little bit messy and whatnot. But yeah, so this is kind of like where I'm situated, I guess. Cool little lights going on in the background. Absolutely love that table, by the way. But let me set the camera up and actually speak to you guys properly. Okay guys, so kind of set up the camera for you, but I want this to be more of like I'm sat down with you over like FaceTime, Zoom, whatever you want to, picture in your head. And imagine you're kind of like my sibling, my little brother, my big brother, my aunt, my uncle, whatever it is that you want to imagine right now. If you want me to be your big brother, hey, you got me as a big brother for today. So here's what I would tell myself genuinely, like 6, 7, 8 years ago, call it 5 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, about 5 years ago, on how to basically make your first $1 million, even if you're completely broke and you've got no skills, got no audience, and you just kind of got like a laptop and maybe a mobile phone. This is kind of like what I would do and what I would tell myself. First of all, trying to build a business without skills is like trying to take a shower without getting in the water. It's damn near impossible. In fact, it kind of goes against what a business is, what a business actually is. The reason why people get paid, and the reason why people get paid is because you solve problems for other people. You basically remove their discomfort. You make them more comfortable. You take them from discomfort to more comfortable in some area in their life, whether that's financial, whether that's weight, whether that's relationships, whether that's even hobbies I've seen work. But let me break this down. I've got a few notes here, guys, for you. So here are some of the lessons that I would actually go through. These are not all the lessons that I've learned, because I've been in business for quite some time now. I believe it's 6 years since deciding to actually become an entrepreneur. And then the first 2 years was terrible, by the way. This is another point within itself. The first 2 years of business for you is probably going to be like ass cheeks, to be honest with you. If you don't want to invest into programs, I don't even blame you, to be honest with you. They all look like scams, to be fair. So if you don't want to do that, you kind of have to just weed the information out online, and it takes you about 2 years-ish of actually learning, to be fair. So I did the same thing. So here's the first thing I would say, the first lesson I would say. Number one would be, stop trying to get rich quick. Stop looking for like gimmicks to like try and exploit these like little gimmicks and these new business models and stuff like that. And I want you to expand your horizon and expand the time frame on how you're trying to get rich in a certain time frame. So a lot of you guys are trying to get rich in like 3 months. You're trying to scale from like 0 to 10K a month in like 3 months, because you're seeing like all these dudes and these gurus online talk about like some of their case studies, very specifically hand-picked case studies, by the way. They don't show you that the average dude, where it takes them like 2 years to get to 10K a month. For me, it took me like 3 years to get to 10K a month. I failed
business for like two plus years, 2.5 years or something like that, then it wasn't until like my third year in business that I actually made my first 10K month. And you know, that's 3 years. So what I want you to do is take that get rich quick type mindset out of your head and just expand your horizon to like 5 to 8 years. Yes, 5 to 8 years. That wasn't a typo. I didn't say that incorrectly. Please move from thinking 3 to like 12 months, that sort of time frame, move it to 5 to 8 years. Now, it probably might not take you that long, but just by the sheer fact of you changing the time frame will put less pressure on you to perform mentally, and it will just help you in like your mental health. I know that when you're trying to achieve these goals in the next like 6 months and you don't get to 10K per month in 6 months, right? You do this thing as entrepreneurs. We all do it. It's where we put this like unrealistic time frame on a goal, and if we don't hit it, it completely kills us mentally. I've done that myself. I've been doing that for years. It's not good for your mental health. Trust me, over a long period of time, believe me, you get burnt out doing that stuff. Now, again, I'm not trying to say you should get rich slow and take 20 years just to get to like 10K a month or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, just try to expand that horizon. Stop trying to get rich quick and stop looking for corners to cut. My favorite saying as well, and I started saying this way back in like maybe 2019 or something like that. I'm kind of known for this saying now. My famous saying goes like this: do not try to cut corners, because corners will come back to cut you in some way, shape or form. Every single time I've seen somebody try to exploit something or do something dark or manipulative to try and make money, believe me, I've been around some very dodgy dudes when I was growing up in like, you know, very council house-ish, area in Sheffield. A lot of crime going on, a lot of selling of, those sorts of things on the street. Don't condone that in any way, shape or form, especially if you're a black man listening to this. Don't be a statistic, please. I'll show you a better way if you just watch this video. Please do not be just another statistic. Do not go and fall for this stereotype. I beg you. That's why I do what I do. So please do not fall for that stereotype. There is better ways to make money, much more authentic ways, much more just human ways and humane ways. So stop trying to get rich quick in like 3 months and expand the horizon to like 5 to 8 years. That's the first thing I want you to do. And yes, I want you to have that mindset of, this is probably how long it's going to take me, anywhere between 5 to 8, maybe even 10 years. Sometimes it just takes that long. So stop trying to do it in 5 months. By doing so, it relieves the pressure off of you. The second thing I would say is, honestly, in 2024 specifically, this was a little bit different back in the day, like 2019 times, 2020 times, but I wouldn't actually start a business to begin with. I know this sounds crazy. I wouldn't start a business to begin with. What I would do is I would build a skill first. I would identify a key skill. Maybe one key skill is video editing. Maybe one key skill is using AI in some way, shape or form. Maybe it's coding. Maybe it's helping people with addiction. Maybe it's building funnels, for example. I've just recently built a new funnel. Again, not going to plug that. Not actually going to plug that in. There's going to be no links. I don't care about making money off of you guys. I know how to run ads. I'm good. I don't need YouTube. I can go and run ads on other platforms and make money. I've made enough money. I don't need your money, is what I'm trying to say. There will be no link in this, no call to action. So I wouldn't try to start a business. The reason for that is because to get a beginner to start a business when they've got no skills is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. You don't know how to manage teams. You don't even know how to manage yourself most of the time at that point. Most people are starting businesses and they have no business trying to start a business. Literally, there's a lot of dudes, right? And this is how crazy this is. When you think about it, this is actually crazy. And I was even under the same delusion back in the day. You can actually go and see my old videos and whatnot. But I was under this delusion, right? Where it was like, I was running a social media marketing agency, but I didn't know how to use social media to get my own clients for my own social media marketing agency. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are running like Facebook ads agencies, right? And they're not even able to get clients for their Facebook ads agencies using Facebook ads. and they've never run a Facebook ad before in their entire life. I just think that is the most backwards, crazy thing I've ever heard. That's almost like being a extremely obese person trying to coach Olympic runners, like marathon runners. It makes no type of sense if you ask me. So I wouldn't actually start a business. I would start with turning myself into a business. So I would learn a skill, whether that's coding, whether that's copywriting, whether that's building funnels, whether that's advertising, whether that's marketing, whether that's building a personal brand. And I would use those skills on myself first. And that's a process called self-actualization. Realizing that you're probably skillless and you have to even pick up skills in the first place. That's a process of self-actualization. The process of self-validation is after you've started picking up skills, you then take those skills and you start using them on yourself. What you're doing there is you're trying to get a result for yourself first. Because again, a lot of people only really want to work with people, me, myself included, which is why I look at these people starting like what you call IPGA, an info product growth agency, right? I see a lot of people trying to start this IPGA thing, right? And I'm thinking like, I actually have an online program, not plugging that. I actually have like digital stuff that you can go and use, coaching, that sort of stuff. Again, not plugging that. And if a beginner was to come to me saying, hey, Montel, I can help you grow your community or help you grow this thing or help you grow that thing. And I've spent the last 6 years growing my own audience and you've literally got 200 followers on Instagram. I would literally be like, why on earth would I ever listen to you? Which is why I just can't wrap my head around this IPGA thing. I literally just cannot. The reason why I would work with somebody is if they've actually achieved the result themselves first and they're a step ahead of me and I want to achieve that same thing. So I have a desire to be where they're at. So for example, if Iman Gadji talked to me about growing my own audience on YouTube, then I'd be like, oh my days, yeah, definitely. How much are you charging me for this? And I'd wire him however much he's basically asking, as long as I could have friggin' afford it at that point. But yeah, because that guy's absolutely blown up. But you get the point. He's achieved something himself, which has got a result for himself. Therefore, he's become valuable because he's many steps ahead of me in terms of the whole YouTube stuff and the whole business stuff. So obviously, I would want to learn from him. Whereas if a beginner messages me on Instagram and they've literally never sold a digital product before in their life, they've never sold anything before in their life, they don't even have an audience, my audience is bigger than theirs, why on earth would I want to work with them? So what I would do is, again, I would gain a skill and self-validate that skill by achieving that result for myself first before trying to offer it to people. The next thing I would do is I would stop listening to gurus, right? I know that this is going to sound crazy because I've learned a lot of information from these quote unquote gurus. I genuinely have. I know that I give them a hard time on this channel and whatnot, and everybody seems to give them a hard time on their channels as well. But honestly, if you sat me down and asked me like, where did I get all this knowledge from? Like, how did courses have honestly just been a big thing in my life. Like genuinely, if you ask anybody, like any dude, like there's this famous saying, I believe it's from like Isaac Newton or Einstein, that like, or I think it was Nikola Tesla, that said something on the lines of like, if I'm a genius, it's only because I've stood on the shoulders of other geniuses. I butchered that, but you get the point he's trying to make. So I'm standing on right now, this knowledge that I have right now is come from mentors, courses, books, YouTube videos, podcasts, all over the place, right? So investing in yourself does actually work, by the way. It just genuinely does. It does short on the time frame. But what I would do realistically is look into where these gurus are actually making their money, because I want you to be aware of what I like to call the paradox of practice. The paradox of practice is where a guru would advise you to start a certain business, but they make all of their money actually coming from doing the opposite thing of what you're doing. For example, these gurus right now are telling you to do all this cold calling and start. But first of all, they're telling you to start a marketing agency, super saturated. They're telling you to do a bunch of cold calls. Not a great way to get clients if you're selling high ticket, by the way. There's much better funnels out there. You can literally just Google how to get high ticket clients through a funnel. And there's just so many better ways to get friggin'. Let me give you an example of what you're trying to do. Trying to get a client to pay you $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month, even, for a service by cold calling them, it's very difficult to do. Here's why. Even when you cold call somebody, right? First of all, it's unsolicited. They find it annoying. In fact, it's come to a point now where business owners are starting to get so many calls from random people pitching them a meeting. They're getting more of those types of calls than there are getting calls for their business to actually book in for their business's services. So they're getting more cold calls basically to pitch them stuff than actual calls for their business and bookings for their actual business. So imagine trying to feed your family and you've got like these 18 to 26-year-olds calling you up from their bedrooms and they're trying to pitch you some sort of service. You're going to instantly be like, oh my days, not again, not again, not again, not again, not again. It's going to get annoying. It's going to get very, very, very annoying, especially if you're just trying to pay bills and look after your family and your friends. So it does get annoying. So cold calling is not a great way to get clients if you ask me. I mean, I can see the appeal to it because if you tell a beginner, oh yeah, you don't have to have any money and you can start this thing with no money and no experience. I get the whole guru pitching thing, but it's very difficult. Very, 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 very difficult. Believe me, I did it for 2 years. I think it was like 2 years or something crazy like that. Got 0 clients from it because it's just not how people buy. It's just not how people buy. This laptop I'm reading off, this microphone I'm using, this light, these clothes, this camera that I'm using, they're all brands that I went to because they branded themselves online or they ran ads. Those are the 2 best ways to get clients realistically. Even when cold outreach works, cold calls, cold emails works, when you do set meetings with people to try and pitch them some sort of service, whatever it is that you're offering, when you get on the actual call, people don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. So you've got to figure out a way to build what I like to call social leverage, or just a way for them to understand what you do before you actually get them on a call. So if I was you, I'd go about building more like a VSL funnel, a landing page type thing, and I'd build content around that particular skill that I have and drive people to my VSL through that content if I was doing it organically. That's how I got my first client, by the way. Much easier way to get clients. So watch out for the paradox of practice. I'll get into this right now, actually. This is something that I'm trying to battle right now and trying to get you guys to understand. And this is what I would tell my little brothers as well. You need to be careful of these kind of like gurus, guys, whatever you want to call them on the internet that you're listening to, right? The reason why I say that is because they're telling you and advising you to do a bunch of cold calls to get clients to sell services. But then when you look at where their income's actually coming from, they're building warm communities, which is the opposite of cold calling. Like if you actually had a spectrum of like the polar opposites, cold calling would be way over here and building a warm community would be like the direct polar opposite of that. So whilst you're doing cold calls, they're building content and running ads to build a community or an email list. You've got no email list. Whilst you're trying to sell B2B services, they're selling B2C. Have you noticed? Like a lot of them will start in B2B and offering some sort of service as like a marketing agency. Even I did this, and then realize it's actually more profitable and much more life-changing to operate in B2C. Nothing wrong with making that switch, by the way. You could make that switch right now, or you could even just start in B2C, right? So I've noticed that a lot of them and a lot of you guys are trying to sell B2B stuff, like B2B services, B2B AI automation, B2B Facebook ads, all that sort of stuff, right? And the craziest thing is you can take those skills and actually just help like the B2C market. The reason why I say go from B2B to B2C is because B2B right now, everybody's trying to pitch them. And here's the craziest thing. It's got to a point where it doesn't even matter what you're saying anymore. Like if you're trying to pitch them like AI or like Facebook ads or like email marketing, those are 3 distinct different services. It's when you approach with cold outreach and when you approach as like an agency, because they've got such a negative connotation with agencies and done for you services, they just kind of automatically categorize you in that same box. Even if your service is completely different. It could literally be you're doing email marketing and you're an email marketing agency, yet they've been pitched by a bunch of Facebook ads guys and it's been terrible. So they're just kind of going to take that negative kind of like experience they've had with other marketing agencies, the Facebook ads agencies, and they're just going to put that on you as well. So you're instantly categorized as a agency owner, a service provider. You're just another service provider in their inbox. So you gotta think outside of that box. And I've noticed that one of the easiest ways you can do this is by building social leverage, aka a personal brand, running ads, organic content, or just going from B2B to B2C. B2C is business to customer or consumer. It's much more scalable. There's more people on planet Earth than there are businesses, and there always will be, literally. So it's much more scalable. And I've noticed that if you just look at every guru, you can just fact check everything I'm saying, by the way. Like pretty much every one of your favorite dudes on YouTube, the people that you're listening to, notice how they make most of their money selling like B2C at this point. So they'll figure something out for themselves. Like they'll figure out how to do growth operating, or they'll figure out how to build their own agency. And then they'll sell that system, that transformation back to another person or just regular people. That's the next thing I want to say. So the first thing I would change in that particular case would be stop doing cold outreach. So cold outreach would be over here on the spectrum. Warm building a community would be over here. Building a brand, building social leverage. I call it just building social leverage. That's what it is. It's leverage. So build leverage, social leverage. Go from cold outreach to building social leverage. That's the first thing you want to do. Even that alone would probably make you guys some serious money. If you just take that, run with it for the next 6 to 12 months, even that will make you money. More money than doing cold outreach, by the way. The second thing I would do is I would go from selling B2B to selling in a B2C market. I don't know what it is about B2C. I would have thought like selling to regular people don't really have that much money, but like there's people out there that really want to learn a skill or a transformation out there, and you can go and help them. It doesn't have to be like, I've noticed that B2B keeps everybody in like this one-dimensional thinking that I keep trying to tell people. Like focusing B2B limits your creativity, and it limits the amount of services and the different combinations between what niche and what offer. For example, one niche might be dentists and Facebook ads. Another kind of like niche would be real estate, but it's still Facebook ads. Or you could do real estate and email marketing, dentist and email marketing. So there's like two different variables and different combinations you can shift in between. But the problem with that is that there's gonna be a limit to the amount of different possible combinations you can come up with. As in, let's say there's 16 classical niches, like, you know, dentists, real estate, chiropractors, contractors, roofing companies, solar panel companies. And then let's say there's 20 different services you can offer, like video editing, copywriting, funnel building, Facebook ads, email marketing. What ends up happening is there's going to be a limit on how many. It's a big limit, don't get me wrong, but there's still a limit to it. There's a limit on how many different possible combinations you can try out. So you can try email marketing to dentists, email marketing to chiropractors, email marketing to gym businesses. But eventually you'll run out of niches for email marketing to a certain niche. And then you can try and change your service to Facebook ads too, and then you insert the 16 different niches. You know what I mean? There's a limit to the different possible combinations. Whereas if you're selling like B2C, there is literally no limit on what you can help people with. I've seen people help people and build a business around getting curly hair, or opening a barbershop, or learning how to quit smoking, quit drinking. I've seen people teach other people how to knit clothes and make 17 grand a month from that. I've seen people help other people with speaking clearly on a camera, or public speaking. That's another one. Or landing gigs for their speaking kind of like skill that they have. I've seen other people teach other people code, how to get a certain job in a certain area. I was speaking to that about my brother the other day. It's a great skill to pick up. So that's what I would do. I would go from cold outreach to building social leverage. We just live in 2024 now. We just do. AI is getting better and better every single day. So what do you think? Let me ask you a question. What do you, a lot of people say cold outreach isn't saturated. And I say, okay, cool. That's cool. Let me ask you a question though. Do you reckon because of the rise of AI, do you think cold outreach is gonna get less saturated anytime soon? Or is it gonna get more saturated anytime soon? Like over time? Of course it's gonna get more saturated, because think about it. AI is becoming more accessible to the average person. They're getting these AIs to write better scripts for people. So now it's all just going to be just completely automated and no human touch to it. And people don't want that. People want human touch to how they're being approached. It's just as simple as that. Business owners are going to know that most of your scripts now these days are going to be written by AI. So they'll look at a script and it could be literally the most impressively personalized script ever. And they'll be like, this has been probably sent by an AI. And if they're not thinking that now, what do you think is going to happen in 2 to 5 years? You know what I mean? So it's not like it's going to get less saturated, is what I'm trying to say. It's definitely not going to go that way, is it? So why, if you know that it's going in that direction, why would you go in that direction? You know what I mean? So stop listening to gurus, replicate what they do instead. They've gone from cold outreach to building an audience or community or an email list. Go from, they do that organically and through ads, by the way. So that's a good little side note there. The second thing they've done is they've gone from B2B to B2C. I've noticed that as well. The next thing they've done, and this is what I really want to get into, is they've gone from selling just services to an actual transformation. This is the big thing. This is huge, in fact. If you've got a pen, definitely write this down. I've noticed that pretty much everybody that I know that's a millionaire at this point has got to that millionaire status because they sell some sort of transformation. They've not manipulated in any way, shape, or form. They've not done anything nefarious or anything like that. Because I used to think the same thing, by the way. Like, anybody that's making lots of money has to be doing something nefarious, and they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. Everybody thinks that. I think that's just kind of like taught in the Bible and all that stuff, like religion and whatnot. And it's kind of like it's a taboo topic to talk about. Like making money is a taboo topic to talk about. So it just got like this negative connotation to it. But I've realized that most of the people that are rich are only rich because there's a demand for what they do and they actually help people. I don't even think you can operate in a nefarious way these days. Technology is just too good. You get shut down. Technology is just way too good. People are just way too tech savvy at this point. Like, operating nefariously would probably just get you shut down, like probably instantaneously at this particular point. I'd guess you probably won't last more than 3 months trying to operate nefariously. Like, honestly, you just don't do that. Again, don't cut corners, or corners are going to come back to cut you. The next thing I want to say is, okay, so yeah, selling transformations. You got to sell a transformation. Transformation would be helping somebody go from point A to point B with a certain step of system, certain steps or a certain system. For example, you help complete beginners learn video editing and land their very first video editing gig. Very simple thing to do. You might know video editing. You might know how to get clients through video editing and through your own videos. So you show people how to go and do what you've done. I'll give you another example. I've got a student called Adam. Closed his first 3 clients in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it was. Yeah, with 2 weeks, and then he closed another client in 6 days. And all he did was he took his skill he basically taught himself how to flip cars, went out there, learned the skill, learned how to negotiate deals, learned how to find cars at a bargain, negotiate the price, fix the cars up, list the cars for a certain price, and then negotiate that so he could sell the car for a profit, and keep that profit. So he knows how to make like money through flipping cars. Good sales strategies, he's learned the full 9 yards. There's a lot of skills that go into that. If you actually just break down and categorize each skill, you have to have people skills, psychology skills, knowing when to negotiate, knowing when not to negotiate. Sales, you need to be able to build a good, a little bit of copy, I guess, would be on the page when you're trying to sell the cars and negotiate prices and all that sort of stuff. He's taught himself all of that. How to spot dodgy people, how to navigate people as well. That's a life skill in itself. So now what he does is he helps other people do that same thing. So he's taken his skill, learned it himself, got a transformation for himself, and then he's helping other people achieve that same transformation. Go from point A, never knowing how to flip their first car, to flipping their first few cars online and making their first profit online, first $1,000, not online, but through flipping cars. So sell transformations instead, actual transformations, not scammy transformations, like things that actually help people. Don't become one of these like make money online kind of like gurus. I mean, you can do if you know what you're talking about, but it takes a long time. And you don't have to do that, by the way. It could literally be something on the lines of you're really good at astrophotography. So you know what camera gear to get, the lenses, the setup, how to track the stars, the coordinates, the how to identify certain stars in the Milky Way. You get the point I'm trying to make. So you can actually help other people with that as well. So you can, that's a transformation. People that don't know how to do that, you help them know how to do that, basically, long story short. So that's what I would do as well. Sell transformation. So go from selling B2B to B2C, go from cold outreach to build an audience, go from selling services to transformations. Transformations can be in the form of information. It can be in the form of a service, done for you service, one-to-one, digital programs, downloads. Could be all sorts. That's completely up to you how you package that up. One of the best things you can do is, if you want to scale, that is you want to realistically go from one-to-one services, done for you stuff, to teaching the thing instead. It just gets better results. It just does. Like, think about it. If you was a kid and you was learning how to walk, you was a baby, and somebody would just drive you around all the time, which is somebody doing the thing for you, you wouldn't learn how to walk yourself. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's the same saying. If you teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. But if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Doing a service for somebody is good. You will get paid some money for that, definitely. But don't get stuck there. Maybe start there, but don't get stuck there, is what I'm trying to say. Don't get stuck there. If you want to scale, that is, for sure. Now, the next thing I want to break down to you guys is this as well. Trying to remain faceless on the internet in 2024 is probably one of the dumbest things you can do. If you really want to just change your life, you need to build social leverage, build trust, because people, and you need to display that you have skills. It's called displayed understanding. The reason why this stuff works and you see your favorite gurus making a bunch of money is because they have a skill, they've had a transformation for themselves, and they talk about that transformation they've been able to achieve for themselves on YouTube, which then in turn gets, thousands of views, which then get, out of those thousands of views, maybe 1% of the people that view it will be like, you know what, I like this guy. Let me go and jump on a call with them, and they'll get a new customer for whatever that transformation is that they want to achieve. And they'll pay that, quote unquote guy that's made the video, the guru, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call them gurus, but you know what I mean. So what I want to break down here is trying to remain faceless in 2024 is the dumbest thing you can do. Having skills but not displaying that you have skills is pretty much, in 2024, the same as not having skills. So if you've got a skill, like you know how to code, or you know how to build funnels, you're very good at Go High Level or whatever it is, you're good at marketing, advertising, you've got results for yourself, or you're good at losing weight, or you're good at overcoming addiction, you're good at like getting your mind right, or whatever the skill is, right? If you have a skill but you don't display that skill on social media, it's pretty much the same as not having that skill. Genuinely. It's huge wasted potential is what I'm trying to say. Example, right? When you reach out to people, I've noticed this. This is a good little example for you. And this should just kind of like nip this one in the butt real quick, or in the bud, or whatever the saying is. Can you imagine trying to do a bunch of like cold outreach to like e-commerce brands to try and sell like Facebook ads, right? As a nobody online. You've got no profile picture. You've got like 200 followers on Instagram or whatever it is. And you're doing a bunch of outreach to e-commerce brand owners on your Instagram, trying to sell them some sort of service to e-commerce brands, right? Who do you think is going to have more success? You could have the best script in the world, right? And then along comes somebody like maybe, like let's take Iman Gadji, for example. Iman Gadji could literally just put the word, hey, to the same brand owners that you're trying to reach out to, get them on a call and close them for a Facebook ad service. He probably wouldn't even have to offer a guarantee. And you're sending this like long, elaborate script of like how good you are, what results you've been able to achieve, your double money back guarantee. If we don't get you X results in a certain time frame, we'll refund you and then give you money on top of that. You're sending all these scripts, right? And I've noticed sometimes it's not even about what you say in your scripts. It's about who you are. That's kind of like where we're moving into now in 2024. And if you don't keep up, you're kind of going to get left behind. Think about what I just said. You and Iman Gadji could be reaching out to the same e-commerce brands to sell the same service, right? You could have this beautifully handwritten, personalized outreach message with a double money back guarantee. Same service, same industry, same niche, same price point. In fact, you could actually even be charging less than Iman Gadji, right? And because you reach out to somebody and you just literally haven't displayed that you know what you're talking about, except for that one message that you sent somebody, they'll completely ignore it. Somebody like Iman Gadget can come along, message that exact same person the very next day. Even at a bad, they could message them at a bad time with just the words, hey, and that will get opened. Yours won't. See what I mean? Sometimes it's not about your script. Sometimes it's about who's saying the thing. It's not about what you say, it's about who's saying it sometimes. That's what I've noticed as well. That's why I want you guys to start building social leverage. I mean, think about it. If you're a business owner, genuinely, if you're a real estate agent, right? And you're into all this marketing stuff and you really love like advertising, and then some kid comes along with a blank page on Instagram. It's like got like graphic posts that's literally just terrible, like graphic posts. His account name is just something media or something agency. And he sends you a message with this long elaborate script of like explaining his services and all this crazy stuff and this guarantee, and you've heard it like a million times over. You're probably going to ignore that. He's got like 200 followers on there as well. You're going to ignore that. Then comes along some sort of guy like Samuel Leeds. Samuel Leeds, by the way, is a guy that has a personal brand, and he talks all about real estate agent, like real estate, investing into property, flipping houses, that sort of stuff. If Samuel sends that same DM, he could even just say the words hi, and that would get opened. So here's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes, again, it's not about what you're saying, it's who's saying the message. It's the messenger. You know what I mean? So I hope that kind of like sinks in. So guys, these are some of the things I would tell myself if I was going back to make my first $1 million online. And again, it's been very messy. I've enjoyed it. And this is going to sound a little bit pretentious, but I kind of have to say, I don't think it's been as difficult as I thought it would be. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anybody who's struggling right now, because I know that times are definitely hard. But I just genuinely don't think it's difficult when you start understanding leverage. I've noticed that the biggest change anyone could make listening to this right now is to just go and build an audience. Genuinely, if you build an audience, right, and you don't even know what you would sell, first of all, just be yourself. Talk about the skills that you have. Talk about what you're learning and how it's positively impacted yourself. Do that for like 2 years, a year. I'm telling you, you will have people send you DMs just saying, hey, really loved your video. Can you help me with this thing, and this thing? Those things that they actually ask you are what they want to buy from you or what they want to help with. And those things that people want help with become your business. This is how I created my first digital program, by the way, Agency Transmutation. You guys, if you're familiar with the channel, and if you're not, I used to sell a program called Agency Transmutation, which is where I figured out how to basically get clients for my own marketing agency using a very weird, janky way. It was using Upwork and then scaling up using Upwork, like doing like the freelance website, but in a very weird way. We don't properly, you have to kind of finesse the Upwork system. To be honest with you, there's a little bit of a little finesse on there. So we didn't use Upwork in the way that they wanted us to use Upwork. That was the finesse. Not finessing people or clients or anything like that. Don't cut corners. Corners will come back to cut you. And we'd get clients on Upwork, and then we would use that money from those clients from Upwork to basically outsource doing cold outreach. Because cold outreach was just a sheer numbers game. Literally is, and I just don't really recommend it anymore. If you're gonna go that route, I would rather you do Upwork, use that money to run ads to build an audience, that way. Build an Instagram profile that way, or a school community using it that way. So I'd rather you do that in 2024 than the whole cold outreach stuff. So my first ever successful go at running a digital program was Agency Transmutation. And that was birthed out of just building an audience, putting out goodwill, being transparent, and just saying, hey guys, cold outreach is kind of sucking. Are you guys realizing it kind of sucks? Well, guess what? I'm using Upwork. It's kind of working, to be honest with you. Here's what I've done. And then because I displayed my skills, displayed understanding, and understood that like they're struggling with cold outreach too, there's probably a better way. Nobody was talking about this. Not the hybrid system anyway. And a lot of people would just send me DMs on Instagram saying, hey, Montel, this was before I had a course, didn't have no course, no nothing like that. Maybe I had a couple little one-on-one coaching clients and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, when I was helping them with the whole just implementing the Upwork stuff, but I had no course at all, like literally at all. The course actually came from my own audience. Like literally my audience would tell me, Montel, do you have a program on this? Do you have a program on this? Do you have a program on this? And I'd sit there and I'd say no for months on end. I'm not joking. There's literal chat conversations between me and people that are asking me, do you have a course on building an agency? Do you have a course on this? And I said no to a bunch of people for months on end. I'd go and send them elsewhere. I'd be like, I can probably help you one-to-one. You want to jump on a call, blah, 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 blah. If they wanted to jump on, they'd jump on. And if it was a good fit, it'd work with me. If not, and it was very cheap back then, by the way, like $500 or something. It was literally $500 to just sit down and help you try and build your agency with Upwork and teach you what I know, basically. And the program came from just people asking me if I had a course on it. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take this same program, the same thing I'm helping people with and getting results for them, their own agencies. I'm going to take that and just put what I know into a program, which is why I've never understood the idea of people saying that programs are a scam unless it's just a really crappy one. Because all I did was figure out this Upwork stuff for my own agency, got results with it for myself, displayed that without a shadow of a doubt. Then I had other people message me, say, Montel, can I work with you? Can you help me with my agency? I'll jump on a call with them, see if they're a good fit, and then work with them and then help them with the same things I'm doing. Just put the same system in place that I'm using for my business in their business. They would get results. And then all I would do is, instead of just talking to somebody one-to-one style, I just took the same stuff I would teach them and I would just say it to a camera instead. So instead of me just speaking to a guy there, it would be speaking to the camera here. Same thing I'm saying, it's just that one's being spoke to somebody directly on Zoom, one's being spoke to me on a camera, spoke to just a camera. So same knowledge, it's just presented differently, if you will. So that's basically how I built out my first ever successful digital program. And the point I'm trying to make is that when you build an audience, your audience will actually tell you what they want from you. Just be yourself, figure stuff out for yourself. Don't start a business, just start with skills, build yourself up with those skills, display that you're starting to build yourself up with those skills. Don't lie, don't cheat, stay authentic. And your audience will literally message you and they'll say like, Montel, can you help me with this certain thing or that certain thing and this certain thing? And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to start collecting these DMs and start realizing that, hey, the majority of people that are DMing me about the same couple of issues that they're having. You then solve those issues for people, see if they're willing to pay for it, validate it, charge low, and if it doesn't work, refund them. Don't be a scam. Don't try to take people's money. That's not good business. You won't last long. If you want to last 5+ years like how I have, you don't do stuff like that. You can't get past 5 years doing shit like that, operating like that. You cannot. You literally cannot. You got to stay authentic. I've been on YouTube now for 6 years. You think if I was operating like that, I'd still be on YouTube? Come on, guys. You know that. So don't operate like that. Don't cut corners like I keep saying. So what's going to end up happening is people are going to start DMing you with these certain problems. Those problems become your business. The solutions to those problems become your business, should I say. So figure out those how to solve those problems for people, and they'll be willing to pay for it if it's a big enough problem. It can't be something that's not an actual deep problem for people. It actually has to be a problem that you can solve for people. So that's how I basically was able to create my first ever digital program. I think that way it made 400 grand or something like that. 400 grand. Built that in a office, in a room with a laptop. But it actually helped people. That's the thing. You don't get paid if you don't actually help people. You don't get paid if you don't have skills. You don't get paid for remain faceless on the internet. Stop that. You don't get paid for sending AI scripts to people. Stop all this stuff, man. You think you're gonna become a millionaire by sending AI scripted scripts to random people, and you got no content on the internet, you got no ads running or nothing like that? The only time you can actually do that is if you got ads running, and you can do this without an audience, without being on YouTube, without doing all this stuff, but you got to spend a lot of money on ads, or you've got to build a massive team to do like thousands of outreach per day. I'm talking like 5 to 10,000 outreach a day. Something stupid like that. At that point, you might as well just pick up a camera and just start building yourself your own audience. Because even after you do 5,000 outreach a day for the next 2 years, you don't build an audience. You don't build any long-term leverage. You don't build a community. You don't build your own email list. You know what I mean? So if I was you, this is what I would do. And if you was my little brother, this is exactly what I would tell you. Learn a skill, document that skill, self-validate the concepts, build an audience around that skill, be authentic, build social leverage, go from B2B to B2C, go from offering one-to-one services to digital programs, courses, downloads, things that actually help people. Stop trying to be skillless, learn a skill. Stop trying to remain faceless on the internet. Doesn't really work that well. Stop being scared of and being judged. Stop being scared of being judged by like your family and friends. Trust me, 5 years from now, they'll all be asking you if they can borrow money. Believe me, being there, no offense to my family. But that's what I would teach myself and tell myself going back 5 years. Anyway, bye.